السلام عليكم. Welcome to a new series, one that we may continue, we may publish, we may not publish, depending on how this episode goes. But first and foremost, I am not here alone. I am here with someone that you might recognize from the beginning parts of this channel. My name is Ahmed, and I am with
Safa.
Safa's back.
Hi.
Yay! And essentially, the point of this channel is that we're trying to, or the point of this channel, the point of this video series is that we're trying to discuss at the end of every chapter to see what we have learned, what are the main points, and so we can kind of exchange and discuss. And it kind of becomes like a book club type thing. So we can talk with each other, we can talk with you, so you can kind of see what this perspective is. And hopefully there'll be something useful. And if this recording is not useful, if you're not seeing this on YouTube, then, then you know that this was not successful. But if you're seeing this on YouTube,
it might not make it to YouTube.
but if you're watching this, that means that clearly we've shared something that is worth sharing. So we're happy to have it. So let's get into it. The chapter that we will be reviewing is the chapter that I just finished recording on the Quran on the YouTube channel, the chapter of Yusuf. First of all, what did you think of the chapter?
It's beautiful.
Right?
It's really a beautiful story, and it's full of hope.
Yes.
Uh,
Well, also despair. Also, like a lot of bad stuff happens,
Both.
and then hope eventually wins out in the end, right?
Yes, yes, but it also shows you like how many difficulties he went through,
Yeah.
starting with his brothers throwing him in the well,
Yeah.
and then someone selling him to someone in Egypt, and
Yeah.
then the wife of Aziz Masr when she tries to seduce him, and then he goes to prison unjustly.
So let's
So he went through so many difficult things,
yeah.
and then he becomes something very great in Egypt.
Yeah.
He's like the ruler of Egypt, and it's a message. I think it's hope.
Correct.
It's a lot of hope.
I completely agree. And maybe to kind of catch everyone to speed, if this is the first time that you're watching the episode and you didn't watch the Quran episodes, then let's just explain the story in simple details.
Yeah.
The stories of the messenger Yusuf.
Prophet Yusuf, yes.
Prophet Yusuf. He's both a messenger and a prophet.
No, he's a prophet.
Not
So
a messenger.
as far as I know, a messenger is there are three messengers in Islam, which is Moses, Jesus,
There are more
and
messengers.
Muhammad, because they both the three of them had messages, like Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And this is why I said according to my knowledge, like this is what I know. But we can research it. This is what I know, is that the messengers are the prophets with a message. Everyone else from the prophets is a prophet only. They were prophets but not messengers. The messengers are the prophets who came with a message to humanity. And the three big messages are, of course, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam.
I have a completely different perspective than what you did.
Okay, but I think we can.
And from the previous chapter, from Surah Hud,
Yeah.
they talked about all the messengers in Surah Hud were much more. Actually, they didn't even mention Jesus, Muhammad, and Moses. They mentioned Shu'aib, they mentioned Hud, they mentioned Noah, they mentioned Moses. They didn't mention
That they
Moses.
were
Messengers.
messengers.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah. So I believe that messengers is anyone that is delivering the message of God. The prophets
Yeah.
are Muhammad, Jesus, and Moses
No.
because they delivered prophecies.
No, I don't think so. But let's agree to disagree and research it a bit more, because I am sure 100% that Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad are messengers.
Sure, agree.
Rusul.
They're both Rusul and prophets and Anbiya.
Yes, they are both prophets and messengers.
And there
That's
are,
true.
There are some that are just
so what
messengers.
you're saying, that the rest of the prophets are not prophets, they're only messengers?
I didn't say that the rest of the prophets are not prophets and they're just messengers. I said you can either be a messenger and a prophet. You can either be just a messenger. You can also be just a prophet. I think there are
Yes.
3 different variations.
Okay.
It's not to say that
Let's
they all have to
research
be.
it. Let's research it a bit more. I'm
Yeah.
sure we will find some interesting stuff, and then we can discuss it again
Yeah.
next time.
I would recommend you check out my Surah Hud because it was all about the messengers. It's kind of in the point.
Okay, I will.
But so
Okay.
so Yusuf,
Yes. So the prophet
messenger
Yusuf,
or prophet?
I strongly believe that Yusuf was a prophet. But yeah, it's a good question for Google.
In the Quran, let's be very specific. Is considered both a prophet and a messenger in the Quran.
Okay.
Yeah, because he does have prophecies. He does have in the beginning of the chapter. But this is kind of also like we wanted to talk about. What is the story of Yusuf? The story of Yusuf is in the very beginning. He has a dream or a vision. It's not a vision. The difference between vision and dream is something that has been an interesting topic on this channel. And a vision happens when you go to sleep, but is about the future and is very specific. And in the first vision that Yusuf had was that he saw 11 planets and the sun and the moon prostrating before
down
Yusuf.
to him. Yes.
And then his father told him, "Don't tell your brothers the story," and this kind of gives you an introduction of what.
I think it's worth mentioning as well that his father is Jacob, who is also Israel.
Yes.
So Jacob is Israel, and he had 12 sons.
Yeah.
Joseph and his brother Benjamin were from one wife, from the same wife, and then he had other sons from other women.
How do you know that Benjamin and Yusuf were from one wife?
Because if you see here that Jacob was really worried about about Joseph and his brother from the rest of his sons.
Yeah.
And then I researched why was he worried about Joseph and his brother from the rest of the sons. And it turned out that Joseph and his brother Benjamin were from another woman.
Okay.
And Jacob really liked the both of them. And this is why he was always worried about leaving Joseph and his brother with his other sons. He was always worried about them. And he loved his wife, the mother of Joseph, a lot.
The difference in the narration from this story is that in the beginning, we do see that the brothers have ill will towards Joseph.
Joseph and his brother.
Benjamin, no. They don't have any ill will towards it.
But do you see at the end when he told them, "Bring your brother, I want my brother," and then he keeps Benjamin and he tells him, "Don't be upset because of what your brothers did."
Yeah.
This is because they were like ganging up against Joseph and Benjamin specifically.
I thought that point was when he was pretty much telling Benjamin that he said, "Don't be afraid what your brothers did."
Yeah.
Rather than
"Don't be upset of what your brothers did," or something like that. And he wanted them to bring. And then when the brothers went to Jacob and asked to take the brother, he told him, "No, I don't want to give him to you because I'm scared that you will do to him what you did to Joseph."
No, they said they blamed.
No,
they blamed
come
at the end. They blamed Benjamin for what he did to his brother. They said Benjamin did to our brother. We're afraid that he's gonna do what. Okay, let's pull it up.
Wait. I'll bring it.
I'll pull it up faster than you because you're saying at the very end when they were at Egypt, right?
A little bit before that.
Yeah, a little bit before the end.
Yes.
Before he gives them, there is no blame. That's what I was saying. I was gonna look for it faster. Before they go back to the father. Here he says. To distance themselves, Joseph's brother argued, قالوا أن يسرق قد سرق أخ له. If he steals, he stole a brother of his.
So do you know why Joseph did that?
It's not Joseph. They're saying.
Why Joseph put the thing for
Benjamin? Yes.
Because he wanted him to stay.
Yes.
So he put it there to make his brother stay with him. But but what you were saying you disagreed with is when I told you that when they went to his father, they told him, "We want to take him," and then his father said, Jacob said, "No, I'm scared. I don't want him to go with you because you will do to him what you did to Joseph."
Oh, yes.
This is the verse that I wanted to find.
I thought we were talking about this part, not about the other part. Then there was a miscommunication.
This is what I'm talking about. This is the verse I want you to.
No, but then
I
know that.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that they wanted to do anything negative to him. And at that point, they just wanted to get their money, right? And they had goodwill towards Benjamin.
We started the whole discussion by the point that I mentioned that Joseph and Benjamin were from a different mother.
Yeah, but I'm
And
saying,
they were very loved by their father, and
yeah,
he was very protected of them.
I'm
That's all I'm saying.
I'm telling you that when they went to go get Benjamin from his father, from Jacob, they didn't mean to do Benjamin harm.
I know, and I didn't say that they
So
wanted to do
I
him
don't
harm.
understand how that explains that both Benjamin and Yusuf were from a different mother.
No, and that doesn't explain it. I'm telling you, because of the story, I researched why they were like, from the beginning they were together, and it seems like the others were another gang. And
Yeah.
when I researched this, I found that they were from different mothers.
Okay.
And then it does show in the verses that Jacob preferred or had like or liked them a lot or loved them a lot.
Loved
That-
who? Loved Benjamin?
Joseph and Benjamin, yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah. I know that
He preferred them, or like he was very protective of them.
yeah, and it also he did seem to put Joseph at a higher degree than Benjamin,
Yeah.
because even after Benjamin was
Joseph
taken,
was very, very
Special to
special to him. Yes, because what was mentioned in one of the in one of the things I read, that Joseph also showed the signs of being a prophet like his father. So, and his
Yeah.
father felt that he had the potential
yeah.
of being a prophet, or like being special in a
Yeah.
way.
There was an interesting conversation that was brought up as I was reading the chapters and discussing it. Was how much can Jacob take the blame for the brothers of Yusuf hating Yusuf because of how much Jacob loved Yusuf? Like, do you think that there's any blame on Jacob for
No.
how he treated? I didn't think.
Not at all.
I didn't think
I
so either.
feel like Jacob reacted to what he perceived from the brothers, that they might be jealous of
Yeah.
Joseph, and I think that this is something that was happening throughout history since Adam and Eve, when
Cain and Abel.
Yeah, Cain and Abel, one of them killed the other. Between brothers and sisters, I think it always happens.
Yeah.
And I think that Jacob perceived this, and he knew about this, so this is why he was very protective of.
And he was
Joseph.
trying not to do.
And he was right,
Yeah.
because when he let Joseph go with his brothers, you saw what they did.
Yeah.
They threw him in a well. So I think he saw it, and in the verses as well, it shows that Jacob, like he had certain calmness, even when the brothers went back.
He said, "Sabran jamilan,"
Yes, yes.
patience that's beautiful.
That he was inspired. I believe that God inspired him some calm. So Jacob was also a prophet. So I think he also had like a sense of like, I don't know, God inspired him things, and he was at certain points. And this is another very beautiful thing that you get from these verses,
Yeah.
that sometimes you don't know why, but in very, very difficult situations, and this happened to me also when I was very sick, sometimes you just get a certain feeling of being calm.
Yeah.
You know that things are going to be all right, and you don't know where it's coming from.
And
So this is what's mentioned in these verses, that Jacob got this. He didn't have any evidence that Joseph was fine or that things were fine, but God inspired him that it was going to be okay, that he should be
Yeah.
calm.
And even as he was calm, even the second time when he goes blind, he still somehow has the calm with him.
Yes, this
It's kinda like
it is a verse we can bring it up, I think.
Yeah.
The second time when they when Benjamin was in Egypt,
Yeah.
yeah, there is a verse that says that
So I'm left with nothing but patience. Allah will return it to me. First, when they says your souls have tempted you to do something evil, so I'm left with nothing but beautiful patience. Again, he says it. Sabran jamila.
so beautiful
Sure.
patience, may God bring them back to me.
Yeah.
And then you can
Yeah. He turned away lamenting. Alas, poor Joseph, his eyes turned white out of grief. So before his eyes turned white, he said, maybe God will return them to me, and then he
Yeah.
went blind.
Yeah.
So even though he went blind, there was still kind of this peace. And this is kind of one of
Yes.
the main lessons that we're learning from this chapter, is that despite the worst thing in the world happening,
Yes.
you still have to have faith, you still have to ask for God's mercy,
Yes.
you still have to
Yes,
kind of be
and never
humble.
lose hope. One of the most beautiful verses is in this chapter. Actually, one of my very favorite verses. إنه لا ييأس من روح الله إلا قوم ولا تيأس من روح الله تيأسوا من روح الله إنه لا ييأس من روح الله إلا قوم الكافرين.
Yeah, I think that's actually pretty close. Yeah, it's right. It's right there. It's right after. My sons go and inquire from Yusuf and his
Yes.
brothers, and here's what she was saying: and do not despair from the soul of God, which they translate into the mercy of God, but it
It's
is
literally the
the
soul of God.
but it encompasses
Because
mercy.
only the disbelievers, only the people without faith
Yeah,
lose hope in the soul of God.
yeah,
And like whenever I was in like a very difficult situation, I always remembered this verse
yeah.
that you should never give up.
Never give up hope.
Never give up hope, because if you give up hope, that means you're giving up on God helping you and giving
Yeah.
up on God's ability to change everything
Yeah,
in a second. So I think this is a big part of your faith, is
Yeah.
to always believe that God can turn things around and that things can can completely change.
and I think that's kind of for me, it's one of the major lessons of this is keep hope and learn from the hope and learn. And you mentioned it in the beginning that Yusuf went through a lot.
Yeah.
He was thrown in a well
Yeah.
by his brothers. He was
Yeah.
taken in by family, who was then attempted rape from the person that took care
Yes.
of him, and then he was imprisoned, and then he was kept in
Yes.
prison longer than he should have been because
Yeah.
the guy he helped out.
Unjustly. So
Uh,
if this happens to any of us, like every single one of these could really have a very bad impact on you psychologically. But
Yeah.
he still believed, and
Yeah.
he was still there fighting and waiting and hoping
Yeah.
to see his brothers again and hoping to see his family again. So this shows you that like just never give up.
Yeah, and always have hope, and especially
Yeah.
given the world today. The world can be difficult, and the world can be something that we struggle with for quite some time. And it's easy to sometimes to lose hope.
Yeah.
It's very easy to.
Yes.
Okay, what other lessons? For me, another one of the lessons that I learned from this chapter was very interesting is that sometimes people who disbelieve and do wrong at a later date believe and save the day in a way. The two examples that were given in the story were one, the wife of the man that took in Yusuf. In the beginning, she was the reason he went into jail.
Yes.
And then when it came time for the
She
confessions, she changed.
admitted.
She believed, she admitted, and she said, just so he knows that I don't do him wrong. And then
Yeah.
she helped him in a time when it helped him exponentially
Yes.
better than it hurt him
Yes.
the first time.
Yes.
And then the second example of that is the brothers. The brothers obviously threw Yusuf in a well and lied about him. And then even at the end, kind of, lied about Benjamin, saying Benjamin was the one who kidnapped his previous brother. So they've done a lot of wrong things. But you do see them, they do repent, they do believe, they do accept their faith. The eldest brother says, I'm going to stay with you in Egypt because, whatever happens to me, happens to me. I can't disappoint my father once more. They go to their father and they apologize and they say they're wrong. They tell Yusuf they're wrong, and then they tell their father they're wrong again. And
Yeah.
you do see that they kind of like come full circle. And for
Yes.
me, this also is a sign of hope.
Yes.
Sometimes you see people, you're like, why are you behaving so evil? Why are you
Yeah.
behaving so hateful? Why are you behaving with so little faith? And it's like very frustrating and very difficult.
Because some people think I've done this and this and that, it's too late for me, or I'm already not a good person, or
Yeah.
whatever. I think a lot of people think this way, but the reality is that until the day you die, until the moment you die, you still have a chance to turn the things around and do the right things
Yeah.
and try to make up for the wrong things you did. And this is, like you said, the wife of the Aziz.
Yeah.
This is what she said, and this is what the brothers of Yusuf also tried
Yeah.
to do, is that they try to make up for their mistakes. Yeah, I did this wrong, but it doesn't mean that I lied at the beginning. It doesn't mean that I continue lying. I can come clean and
Yeah.
say, well, this is what happened, and to fix things.
You said it from the perspective of the self, like I've done bad things, therefore it's not too late for me to change. But I also see it from the perspective of the other. Sometimes somebody hurts you, and it's easy to go, they're a bad person, and just label them as a bad person, and then kind of close the door on them forever. And I'm not saying allow people to do harmful things to you. If people are doing harmful things to you, by all means, keep a distance, push away. But in some sense, have hope that they might be able to change. And there is a possibility that people change no matter how bad a thing that they have done
Of course.
is for. Like, literally, the
And
brothers.
I think, yeah, we all do mistakes, and we sometimes with other people, also sometimes the way you perceive things is not what the other person perceives. So there is always room for doubt. And in Quran, there is a very famous verse that says, "Inna ba'da zanni ism."
Oh.
That whenever you have doubt of something, sometimes you interpret a certain act as this person doesn't care about me, or this person is bad, or this person intends me harm, while actually it's just you assuming that, and he didn't really mean it this way.
Yeah.
So I think that we should always give
The
people
benefit of
the
doubt.
benefit of the doubt first, and always give them also the chance to repent or to fix things, because as human beings we all make mistakes. So if at the first mistake you do, I say, no, I'm not going to talk to Ahmed again, we wouldn't be here today. Like, over the years, of course, I did some things that upset you, and of course you did some things that upset me as well. But at the end, we both know that we come from a good place, that we have good intentions, and we don't really mean it in a bad way. So that's always giving the benefit of the doubt, or always assuming that the other person means well.
But also, sometimes, even if they mean poorly, like the brothers did mean harm, right? And even the lady meant harm towards Yusuf. And even those that do poorly and do harm, and some people do harm, some people do, sorry, I'm very juvenile. Some people do harm intentionally. And that doesn't mean that you need to keep them in your life. You can kind of separate them and understand that this person is not good. They could also be going through an addiction, through some, like, the devil can get to all of us through a variety of worms, through jealousy, through substance abuse, through any number of means. But there are ways to come back from it, and there are ways to repent, and there are ways to do good. And it's also, you get to see on the flip side, both Jacob and Yusuf showed a lot of mercy.
Yeah.
The brothers did some terrible things that messed up a lot of years of put people in a lot of bad situations. And then as soon as they apologized, they had the mercy to say, you know what, we understand. And like, as human as we are, we have to try and aim for divine mercy, because we all make mistakes. Find me one person that's never made a mistake, and I will find you a liar.
Yeah. And this is what also throughout the Quran, it says, Al-afun al-nas, the people who forgive other people, God will also forgive them. So if you want to be forgiven by God, try to also forgive people.
So the main lesson of this verse, this beautiful story, by the way, it's one of the easier chapters to read because it's so action-packed.
It's a very nice story.
It's also like story-driven, like this happened. Like, some of the Quran is like morals and lessons, and like you have to really ponder and think, whereas this is like, it guides you through the journey, and you kind of, it's a little bit more easier to follow. And I would say the main lesson for me is hope. Don't lose hope. And because at any point in time, any person can become good. And things can change. Things can change completely. They can be better than they ever were before.
Yes. And without you even expecting it.
Yeah.
But it can all be turned around in a second. So Joseph went from prison to being responsible for the, I think,
entire wealth of Egypt. The
treasury of Egypt.
Yeah.
And another point that I would like to mention, of course, since I'm Egyptian, is that in these verses, Joseph tells his family, come to Egypt and you will be safe.
Yeah.
Inshallah aminin. Adkhulu Masr inshallah aminin.
Yeah.
And I think if you go to Egypt, I think you find it in the airport. Adkhulu Masr inshallah aminin, because it's in the Quran. It's mentioned about only 2 places, I think, or 3 places maybe. One of them is the Kaaba, the Mecca, that you will be safe there, and the other is Egypt. So that's also something that Egyptians are very proud of, that Joseph, when he was in Egypt, he told his family to go, and inshallah they will be safe.
It's beautiful.
In Egypt.
However, we also know what happens to the Jews a little bit later with the pharaohs. Because the 12 tribes of Israel, The trolls and eventually the pharaohs, right? This is I assume timologically speaking, Moses
It was
comes after Jacob.
Moses comes after Joseph. Yes,
Yeah.
Moses comes after Joseph.
Because the Jews are
Another
already in
point
Egypt.
that reminds me of another point that I wanted to mention also is that throughout the verses they say that they are Muslims, Jacob and Joseph, that they are Muslims,
Yeah.
and this was way before Islam as we know it.
Yeah.
Because in the Quran and in Islam, being Muslim means just surrendering to God
Submitting to
and
God.
believing in God.
Yeah.
And they believed even before Moses, before Jesus, before Muhammad, they already believed and they were already Muslims in the sense that they surrendered to God and they submitted to God in a way and let God do what is.
I've had this discussion many times. So my parents go, see, they were Muslims. Everybody should be a Muslim. And I'm like, no, not Muslim in the sense of the identity that we follow the Quran and follow Muhammad. That is the identity of it today.
Yeah.
But Muslims in the terms of submission to God and surrender to God, which is the main pillar of Islam is the surrender to God.
Yes.
So it's more about what is being done rather than about the identity of Muslims today, so to speak.
I think that today Muslims have more practices that we learned from the Prophet Muhammad. That we have now more practices. We have the Quran, of course, to study. We have more to think about. But the main concept is the same. Like Muslims today practice differently, read the Quran, have more knowledge, but the main concept is the same, I think. And the other thing I wanted to mention is about the 12 tribes of Israel.
Yeah.
Because also I found it very interesting that Jacob, it was before Moses and before Jesus and before them both, and Jacob has 12 sons who are considered the
12
Bani
heads of
Israel.
The-
So they are the Bani Israel. So actually when I read a little bit about it, we are confusing all the terms together. We are confusing the sons of Israel with Jews with Israel today, while actually the three are very different.
What do you mean?
It's just different. Like the sons of Israel, Bani Israel, are something, the Jews are something else. They are not equal to Bani Israel. The Jews are the people who followed Moses when Moses came. Some of them may have turned already into Christians or Muslims, but they are not Israel as it exists today. Israel, the country that exists today, is not the same as Bani Israel as mentioned in the Quran.
Okay. Interesting. A lot of
That's very interesting, and I
Very
think it needs
specific.
a lot of research because honestly, that's what I read in like 10 minutes or something. But it could be a good discussion also for next time.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's kind of a valid point. Thank you for sharing. It is something that I've thought about. For me, I've always separated Judaism from Israel, for example.
Yeah.
And that yes, and then there's also the concept that Jews are a hereditary trait of people rather than people who follow the Jewish faith. Like, for instance, I've seen people that do like tests where in their test it says you're 20% Jew. It's not talking about the belief system, but talking about the tribe that you belong to, about an ethnic tribe rather than a belief system. Whereas Judaism, the belief system, Jew can be something different.
Yes, Jews. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're a Jew, it doesn't mean you're.
But let's keep it focused to the verses. I thought it was very beautiful. It's one of the most, for me, it just fills my heart with joy reading this chapter. It brings, it's also the easiest to read because it's very, what I say dramatic, because it's like stories, events, actions, things are happening. There's always there's dramatic elements of like characters that you see that move, that do things. It's a narrative that you can follow. So I like it. I think it's a fantastic place for anyone to start if they want to start reading the Quran. It's a good one. And cool. I like this discussion. The idea is that we do one of these after every chapter of the Quran, but we're not going to commit to that just yet. We're going to discuss. We're going to post this on online and see what you guys think. See if this makes sense. See if this format works. And if it's something that we should continue, and then inshallah we will do more. If not, then we will not. But thank you for joining us today, and we will catch you guys next time. مع السلامة.
Bye.